If you are looking for a job abroad, you are in the right place. Welcome to Start Your International Career, your guide to finding a job abroad. In this episode, we have Alejandro Mon, a sales manager in the tech industry. Alejandro, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Juanma. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Alejandro, before we go in detail in your story and your background, can you briefly explain what do you currently do at your job and what did you study?
Okay, yeah. So I studied business administration. I did a dual degree in Spain and the United States. So I studied in Madrid at the University of ICADE. Basically, it was a career in finance. Especially in ICADE, I was more specialized in let's say the more traditional business administration. But then when I moved to the USA, I did a double major in finance and management. So yeah, after graduating, I started my career at Mutuactivos, which is a very important investment fund in Spain. And I worked there for around 2 years in the valuation department. So basically, it was a really, let's say, number-centered job. We had to basically evaluate the funds that the investment fund had. So yeah, it was a really, let's say, accounting job. Also, I was doing basically trades and helping with the matching of those trades in the market. And I knew that I wanted a change, so I decided to look for a job more client centered, and that was basically my main motivation to change job. And yeah, I made a bold move to Brussels. It's where I met you, and I started working at Odoo because I knew I wanted to do something related to sales. I thought it was more, let's say, it was more close maybe to my preferred skill set or the skill set that I thought I had potential in. So yeah, I moved to Brussels, and after Brussels, I came back now to Valencia because of my job. I currently work at Odoo as a sales manager. So yeah, I will tell you a bit of my background later. I think.
Yeah, we will go into details later because you were running a lot. I saw already answers to
Yeah.
some of my questions. And I'm interested in your current job. So, what is the job of a sales manager in the tech industry? What is exactly that you do?
Okay. So basically, my job right now is basically coordinating a team of partner managers because inside what you call sales, you have lots of different roles. I'm on the partner manager side, which is basically indirect sales. We don't directly sell to the customer because we sell via our partners that implement our solution. So yeah, currently I'm coordinating and helping with the managing of a team of 6 people. And basically, our job as partner managers is to basically help our partners grow, them sell more, and basically help them or help the part where they work with Odoo become even better every day. So yeah, my role as a sales manager is basically motivating and helping the partner managers in my team become better every day.
Okay. And when you say partner manager, what is an example of a partner, for example, that you work with?
Okay, so I work in Odoo. I don't know if any of the people listening know what Odoo is. We basically are an ERP. Our main competitors might be, for example, SAP or Salesforce, but we are more specialized in SMEs, so in small medium businesses. Um, and basically, my job at Odoo, we have a solution, an ERP that we sell, and these partners are basically external parties that implement our solution. So we, as let's say the as Odoo, as the main party, we sell the solution, we sell the software to them, and the partners are the ones that implement it and do all the consulting services and all the support services to the end client. So it's kind of a love triangle, where both partner, Odoo, and the client are working together in order to have a successful implementation.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation. It's clear now. All right. So, you have a really interesting story because you're coming from the south of Spain, from the same region where I'm coming from Andalusia. And
Mhm.
this region is famous for being beautiful, for having a lot of good food, good weather overall, good tourism, and also very famous because people who are born there never move away from there. But in your case, and also in my case, we moved abroad. We worked outside of our region and also outside of our country. So I'm interested to know, why did you want to move abroad?
Yeah, yeah, I agree that Andalusia is really beautiful, and honestly, I would love to live there right now. But I think I will leave it for later in my life. Um, Actually, my case was kind of easier than the rest of the people that I may know, because I studied in a British school. So obviously, in a British school, you are like closer to, let's say, those abroad cultures and everything. Like all of my teachers were from the UK. So so yeah, I think that motivated me a little bit, and made it closer for me to want it to move abroad. And also my parents, even though I was born in Cordoba, my parents are from Madrid. So I also wanted to go to Madrid because I don't know, it's a city that I always liked. It was easy for me because I had family there. So actually, when I was 17 and I moved to university, I moved directly to Madrid. And obviously, once you make that first step of being outside your comfort zone, outside your house, it was easier for me to then make the move to first the United States and then to Brussels.
Okay. So I understand what motivated you was curiosity, let's say. You were curious of knowing what is outside of your country, what is outside of your city.
Yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed traveling a lot. I had the opportunity, thanks to my parents, to spend a couple of months both in the UK and in France during the summers when I was around 14, 15, 16 years old. So I've always enjoyed being abroad. I really enjoy meeting different people, different cultures, and everything. And even though it's true that, especially for the Spaniards, no, once we go outside, we usually always mix with other Spanish people. I've always enjoyed being outside my comfort zone. I've really enjoyed getting to know deeply other cultures. And yeah, obviously the opportunity, let's say the sacrifice that you make going out of Spain, even though it's a great country, it's also because the opportunities abroad are normally more interesting. And obviously, I had really much in mind the idea of going outside in order to make, let's say, a quick jump start, in my career. Because in Spain, things, unfortunately, they move sometimes a bit slower in terms of your career.
All right. So one of the main reasons was career growth for you. One of the main reasons to move
For
abroad.
sure. Yeah,
All right.
for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And why Belgium?
So, and I think nearly everyone that moves to Belgium gets asked that question, because if you're, let's say, if you're more in the political side, obviously Belgium is like the bold choice, because you have lots of jobs, and the career in the European Union is a great career to pursue. But for the rest of us, it's kind of a weird choice, right? Because it's not the prettiest city, or the one with the most party, or the most salary, or anything. Um, but honestly, I thought it was a great city for me because I can speak French and I can speak English, but I didn't want to work in French. But I still wanted French to be a big asset for me in terms of finding a job. So Brussels offered me that kind of mix between both. And also, my girlfriend at the time was offered a job at Deloitte Belgium. So obviously, love is also powerful, and I decided to make the move there, because yeah, for example, I had opportunities in Dublin, which is a city that I really like. I had some opportunities as well to stay in Madrid and change job to a more client-centered job. But I also felt that urge of trying something new, because in Madrid I'm super, super happy, or I was super, super happy. I have lots of friends there, but I also wanted to see, okay, so what's out there? I don't want to be doing the same plans every weekend. I want to meet new people, do new stuff. And I think Brussels was a perfect choice for me, because even though the city might not be the best city, like for example Zurich might be, I had a wonderful time there. I'm super happy of my 2 years in Brussels, and yeah, I got to meet like amazing people like you, that obviously are really inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
It's true. It's true.
Great. Okay. So it's clear now. Why did you choose Belgium? And I wanted to ask you about the job search. So when you move
Mhm.
abroad and when you are not working in an international company that offers you a position in a different country, when you really need to start from scratch, it's a whole different
Mhm.
story, right? So how did you find your job in Belgium from scratch?
So honestly, the first thing I tried to do was try to connect with my closest network. So I started asking around and knowing or trying to get to know people that were currently working in Belgium. Obviously, I think it's the easiest thing to do. Basically, it's the thing that I recommend because they're gonna tell you how their life is there. So that might make you think a little bit more if you want to go to a city or not. And also, they might help you because they know someone or they have an opportunity themselves for you. So actually, what I did was that I first centered on my current area of expertise. Let's say that was investment fund, so the finance sector, and I applied to BNP Paribas because I knew someone that was working there, and they actually offered me an offer in BNP, which was kind of more a more linear career path because it was a similar job to what I was doing at Mutuactivos. And also I had someone that I knew that was a Belgian guy that I met in Marbella once. He was like a good guy, and we played some golf together. I had his Instagram, and when I was thinking about Belgium, I remembered about this guy, and I sent him a text, basically asking some help or if he knew some place that I could work in. And when I sent him my CV, I had worked at an Odoo partner for an internship when I was 19-year-old. Actually, I was working when I was 19-year-old in summer in an Odoo partner, like from 9 to 2, just to get to have some experience. And then from 4 to 12, I was working at McDonald's that summer. So yeah, it was a bit of a crazy summer. I didn't have time to do much, but it helped me a lot just doing that internship because I put in my CV that I had some knowledge about Odoo because I was working in that partner. And when I sent the CV to this Belgian guy, he told me, I don't have any positions in my company, but I see that you have some experience with Odoo. Odoo, it's a Belgian company. It's a super fun environment, lots of young people, really, really good opportunities to grow. So you should apply there. And honestly, it was that way. I applied to Odoo directly from LinkedIn, and I think it was only 3 interviews, and I managed to secure the position. So
Wow.
yeah, it was pretty random, and my my kind of my recommendation for anyone listening is to not have any type of fear to start asking around, to simply try to connect with people on LinkedIn, or if you know someone that is living there, or maybe a friend of a friend, be bold and send them an email or a message because it works, and people usually are super friendly. I've had many successes just doing this, and yeah, especially now that I'm in sales, I know the power of trying to connect with people and being genuine, and it usually works.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good tip. Networking is the number one tool for getting a job anywhere
Hmm.
in every
I
country.
agree. I agree
Okay, and that's
for sure. Yeah,
actually
yeah,
a random story of this guy of Marbella, and yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
really
Totally.
finding you a position, but recommending you a company that you didn't know about, and then you went through a normal process with that company, right? It's not like
Exactly.
he
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
referred to
mean,
you.
no, 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 no. I knew Odoo, but I didn't even know that they were a Belgian company. And yeah, this guy helped me a lot just by pointing me in the right direction. And I had the offer from BNP and from Odoo. Um, but honestly, I had the doubt, like when you have 2 offers and you don't know what to do. And also a tip that I can give you guys is that when I had the 2 offers and I went to sleep, I was in my bed and I was thinking like, okay, if I go to BNP, I'm gonna be happy. It's a good salary and everything, but I'm gonna be thinking, why didn't I go to Odoo? Because I'm gonna have like that, a thought in the back of my head of what would have happened if I had gone to Odoo, and I didn't have that same thought with BNP. So I it was easy for me to sleep when I decided that Odoo was the right decision, and until now I think it was.
Yeah. It's like if you're thinking about the second choice, is that the first one was not that good? Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, 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 totally.
Okay. All right. Then talking about the process with Odoo and VMP. Did you have anything that make you stand out or something specific about the process that you would say, this is the reason why they offered me a position?
Mhm. So with BNP, I think it's pretty simple. It's basically that it was a very similar job to the one that I was doing. So obviously, I was really well prepared. I knew really well all the financial instruments and everything. I was really used to making trades and making transactions of large amounts of money. So that really reassured them, and it was kind of easy for them, because they tested my skills really quickly.
It was in English
And with Odoo,
or French?
yeah, it was in English. It was in English. Yeah,
Okay.
I knew I didn't want to work in French, and because BNP is like a super big an international bank, it was for a really international department. So yeah, it was gonna be full English. But yeah, in Odoo, honestly, I think it was a love story since day one, because I think it's a company that really suits me, the way I am, and my values, and the things that I enjoy at a workplace. And yeah, from the first moment, I try to be as transparent as possible. I try to show more my, let's say, my motivation and my hunger to learn and to get better and to, let's say, make a true career in sales. And I think that they really valued that, because obviously I think that in sales you need to have a little bit of that personality, because you need to be a little bit outgoing, and not have any fear of people saying no to you, and fear to rejection. So I think I had a little bit that personality, and that's why I wanted to make a move to sales. But yeah, I think in Odoo, they really valued my transparency, my motivation, my eagerness to learn. And yeah, I think I also prepared my interviews correctly. I think this is also a good tip. Lots of people that are like doing lots of interviews don't give the interviews the value that they actually deserve. And if you're going to do an interview, you have to show your motivation, you have to do your research, you have to prepare it correctly. I had to do, for example, a demo of the product, which obviously is really difficult if you don't know the product at all, but I spent lots of hours trying to prepare it and everything, because I think it's your way of showing that you are really motivated with the position. And I think that me, for example, as an interviewer, now as a manager, I've done tons of interview to recruit people for my team. It's something that I truly value, when I see someone has really prepared, and even though they don't deliver, or they don't do the best at the interview, seeing that preparation and seeing how people stand up against, um, let's say, problems, or when you are trying to pose them difficult questions, is something that I really value. I like people in my team that under pressure, they know how to stand up.
Okay. That's a great tip. And that's for when you already have an interview. And before that, what would you say? I mean, did you have to prepare your CV in a specific format? Did you have to do anything specific to stand out and get that first interview?
Yeah, I think that that's also a super important thing that many people don't do. And I know it's kind of shit, but now that you have ChatGPT, it's a bit easier. You have to personalize your CV and your cover letter for every job that you're applying. I know it's sometimes kind of, long, and it gets a bit boring, but honestly, as an interviewer, or as a member from HR, it's a big difference, when you get you get a CV, and for example, in their, let's say, summary, or let's say, overall view from the candidate, they don't speak about being motivated in sales or in the tech sector or in whatever sector. You don't feel that that CV is directly sent to you in a
Yeah.
way, So you really have to show both in the CV and in the cover letter that you understand the values, and that you understand the culture of the company, and that you think that you are a good fit. Not only that you are a good candidate in general, but that you are a specific good fit for that company.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I also say the same to everyone that reaches out to me saying, okay, tips for preparing my CV, blah, 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 a part of the format, which of course needs to be a clean format, and depending on the country, it can vary a bit. The best tip and the one that works better is customize it. Like really made it super tailored for this offer
Exactly.
and make it look like this is the only job role that you're interested in. Like it's everything for you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and I'm an interviewer, but I'm not specialized in HR, and I don't actually know what the correct answer is. But for example, when they ask me if I am applying to other companies or whatever, I never say that I am. I'm saying I'm just motivated in this company because I'm happy in my job right now, but I think I'm a perfect match for this, and I couldn't let the opportunity pass. That's kind of my approach. I don't know if it's the best way to do it, but it's how I do it.
No, no, it's a good one. It has worked for you, right? So that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
counts.
totally.
Okay, nice. So now we
Yeah.
covered the application process. I'm interested to know a bit more about the work in Belgium. You having worked
Mhm.
in Spain and in Belgium, what were the main differences for you?
Honestly, I think the main difference usually is the time spent working and the actual, let's say, productivity versus time. I think that that's kind of a shock for everyone, especially I think with both Spaniards and Italians, there is this kind of perception that we are not hard workers and that we want to, sleep siesta every day. But honestly, when I was in Brussels, both the Italians and the Spanish were the people that left the office latest. And I think it's also because in Spain we are used to these shitty work conditions where everyone is expected to leave the office at 7, and if you leave earlier, you're not doing your job correctly. Whether in Brussels, I saw that they really valued the outcome and your productivity, and they didn't care that much, or they didn't regulate how many hours you were working while you were doing your job. And I think obviously this is something which I think it's basic, and it also motivates the candidate a lot, because you really get the opportunity to organize your time, especially in sales. That, for example, if one day I want to do full admin work and not have any calls or anything, I could do it. I mean, as a partner manager or as a direct sales, not as a team leader, because obviously it's a different job. But you kind of are expected to be more responsible and organize your time. And I think for young people in Spain, that's not the general tone. They are a bit more controlling in terms of if you're not doing the hours that we are expecting you to do, you're not doing your job. So yeah, I think that was a big difference from what I saw in Spain.
Mhm. Yes, I think I agree. I've also seen that in Spain, but for me, it's something that it never made any any sense. It's like, I don't know, you hire someone to paint your house. What you want is a painted house, right? You're not paying by the hours. So the less hours that the painter
Yeah, yeah,
takes, the better for you. You want a painted house, not the amount of hours that this guy is painting. So it is the same at the
yeah,
office.
yeah, yeah.
Should measure the outcome.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. Also, if I could say like a small thing that obviously it's really really dependent on the company, I would say something really important that I saw also in Brussels is let's say the necessity or the motivation of having well trained employees. So I mean, like the onboarding processes are much better defined that they were in Spain, for example, in my two jobs, and also the, let's say, the necessity of constantly having trainings available to your employees so that they can keep getting better and that they are motivated in growing as a professional and not only on being centered on doing your job. I think this is something that is changing, but I think that it's not been that common, let's say, in Spain, or it's not given that much importance.
All right. Regarding training, now that you mentioned, is there any skill
Mhm.
that you saw that was in high demand in Belgium?
You mean in sales
Yeah,
specifically,
in your sector,
or in
in
general?
your sector. Yes.
In sales, I mean, I think um, sales is a funny sector because I think it's basically very similar for different countries. That's also a good thing, or something I recommend people about sales, that you can do your job basically anywhere. Obviously, language can be a barrier, but if it can be done in English, you can sell anything anywhere. But yeah, I think obviously in sales in general, you really need people that are willing to spend time to learn, to get better. Normally, sales or good salespeople tend to have a big ego, so you have to also battle with that and try to be intelligent with that. Try to learn a lot. But yeah, I think your best skill is to be super motivated, to learn from others, to be humble, and it's kind of my approach that I've had during my whole career. I've always, when I have changed offices or I have changed departments, the first thing that I did was ask who was the top performer in that team, and spend 1 week by his side, because maybe he has a completely different way of selling than me. But just if I can get one or two things from their pitch, or a couple of tips, it gets me a better professional every day. So yeah, I think my best skill, or the skill that I most recommend, is to be humble and to be able to learn from others.
That's a really good mindset. Learning from others is a great way to scale up quickly. And regarding
Mhm.
this kind of learning for others, for example, would you say in sales was more important for you to know about the product or know about sales techniques?
Um, in tech specifically, you need to know about the product. You don't have to be super geek. Like, I have no fucking idea about how the developers do their job or whatever. I know about the product itself, and how it can help you. I don't know about the specifications of the product. Obviously, you need to know your product, and it's important that you are able to transmit the value that your product has versus others. But it's much more important. I won't say the sales technique, but the narrative, because at the end of the day, sales is 80% narrative, and you need to be able to effectively solve your clients' problems, not only by your product, but also by your actions, by your help. Um, Something that I learned in my first months as sales is that the discounts and the techniques that we have for selling are not worth anything if you don't use them to fix the problems that your client has. And every client has different problems. So if you have a client that is really scared about, for example, the price of your product going up in future years, because they have a subscription, you need to be able to offer one of your sales weapons as a fix for their problem. You don't have to just show your weapons, or just think about the price or how I can use the discount to find it more appealing or everything. You have to use your weapons to solve your clients' problems. I think it's the most important thing in sales.
All right, interesting. And regarding
Mhm.
certifications, would you say it's more important to have certifications or experience?
No, I think experience for sure. I mean, certifications, especially in sales, are normally not worth anything. I mean, it depends obviously on the certification, but for the people on my team, for example, we have a certification at Odoo that certifies that you are good functionally in Odoo, that you're able to configure it, and maybe 30 or 40% of the partner manager team has a certification. We don't ask for it. Obviously, if you're motivated and you're more that type of, let's say, specialist sales guy, I recommend that you get a certification, because it can be a good weapon for you, especially against your partners, saying, "Hey, I'm certified. I'm a sales guy. You that are the consultant and the developer, you have to get certified for sure." But yeah, honestly, certifications is not that relevant in sales.
All right, thank you. Then, talking more specifically, as you are in sales, let's talk about money. What is a salary range that people can expect for a sales position in Belgium, like the one you had?
Okay, so I mean, Odoo, actually, my company is really transparent on this. If you go to the web, you will see the starting salary and everything. We even have a salary configurator where you can choose the car that you want to have and everything, and the net appears on how much you will earn. So my base salary was around 3,000 net, counting, for example, all of the extra things that they gave us. No, so for example, the eco vouchers, the how do you say, the food vouchers and everything. It was around maybe 2.7, 2.8. And you also have to think about commissions, right? So if you were around 100, 120% on target, which is kind of what you can expect if you are performing well, it was around 1,000, or let's say 800 extra every month. So maybe if you were performing well, you can expect to earn around 3.3, 3.4 net. Obviously, I don't count everything because, for example, in Odoo, as I said, in Brussels, it's very common that you get a car in your job. So you have to add up all of these things, But yeah, obviously it's a good starting salary. Sales are usually really valued across different types of companies because at the end of the day, we are the people that bring the business to the company. Without us, we can't do anything at the company. But yeah, obviously it's a huge difference for a sales job in Spain that even tech sector is kind of better considered. If you are on a normal sales job in Spain, you are probably around 1.1, 1.2K starting salary net, which is low sometimes. It depends on what you compare it with. But I think this salary conversation is really interesting because I recommend you, if you are planning on working abroad, to think about this, right? Because you have to find your priorities. Maybe you want to go and work abroad because you want to live the experience, get to meet new people, the culture, you love the country or whatever. But I also did the calculation, of saying, okay, even though I get a job that I like or whatever, if I don't earn at least 60K, I'm not gonna move to Brussels, for example, because in Spain I can live in my house. I have a good salary, a good job, so at least 60K is the thing that I have to look for, and then you have to do that analysis of seeing if you can actually get to that kind of salary for the position that you're looking for. In my case, it was, and I was lucky, and that's why I decided to make the move.
Mhm. Yeah, that depends, of course, on the priorities for the person. Because one of the things that, in my opinion, holds people back when moving abroad is they set the expectations here in terms of salary, for example, or in terms of holiday, and then they realize that they cannot get it, or maybe it's not as easy as they thought. And one of the reasons is
Yeah.
that companies tend to pay, in some countries, expats less because they take advantage of that these people don't know the market yet and they're coming normally
Hmm.
from countries with lower salaries, so they take advantage of this. But my advice to these people is take that, even if it's not your dream salary, use it as a bridge, as a transition, and then later on, once you are more experienced in the market, you will find something. But I mean, I think it's also good to have goals, like you said,
Hmm.
while always keeping in mind that if your goal is to move abroad, your goal is to move abroad. Money
Yeah.
will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it won't come in the first 6 months, but it will come in the next year or in the next 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really important to be conscious of your situation. As you say, if your motivation and your dream is to move abroad for whatever reason, as I said before, um, obviously make that calculation, of how much disposable income you're gonna have after paying rent, food, and everything, because you're not gonna move to be worse off than you are in your current position. But yeah, obviously, once you get to know the market, once you get to know people, lots of doors will open. And for example, a market like Brussels, it's crazy. I mean, you also lived it, Juanma. There were opportunities every day in our circle of friends. There were also people that were changing jobs and everything, and it's a really moving market. So also
Yeah,
that makes opportunities appear faster.
yeah, I agree. Then I wanted to ask you a bit more about the life itself in Belgium, about the work-life balance, but you were already telling me that work hours were respected. So I think the
Hmm.
work-life balance was, for your feedback, was quite okay. Then what about
Yeah.
integration in the country and social life?
Okay, this for Belgium is really weird, right? Because it's a weird country. It's divided in three, actually. I was gonna say in two. So if for the people that don't know, the top part of Belgium speak Dutch, and they are closer to, let's say, the Netherlands than to France. And in the bottom part of Belgium, they speak French, and they are closer to France than Netherlands. In terms of personality, I would say. I hope no one from Belgium is listening or doesn't feel
I
offended, but
think they all
it's
agree
true.
with you.
Uh, they all agree, right? So it's kind of weird because then in the middle you have Brussels, which is actually it belongs to the let's say Flandre, to the top side, um, and Brussels in the middle is completely different to anything. It's a super international city. People, as I said before, are doing stuff like engineering, like Juanma. There are lots of politicians or politics world. There's lots of sales, there's lots of tech. I mean, it's a really fast-paced city in in that sense because it's people from everywhere. It's super multicultural. A benefit in lots of senses because it's super fast, super fast and super easy to feel integrated because kind of everyone is in that same position that they have arrived maybe 1 2 years ago and that they are still finding their place. But yeah, it's super easy to find friends. People are super open. Also, the party, or the vibe, it's a really techno vibe, which also kind of makes that also let's say partying or making friends easier because it's super open. So I mean, I think it's a super fun city. You have lots of different type of people. As I said before, Spanish people, it happens. We usually end up mixing with each other. But yeah, I think it's a city where you can honestly find the type of group that you want. And even though the rain and the security sometimes in the city can get a bit on your nerves, I think it's a very fun city. And if you have that good mentality and you're looking to go out of your house whenever you can on the weekends and have that routine on the weekdays of going to the gym and having a healthy lifestyle, I think it's a super good city to live in. But yeah, especially for Mediterranean people, the rain sometimes it's a bit complicated to bear with.
Okay, so with all this summary, I think it's clear for me, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What is the best and the worst for
Okay,
you about Belgium? Only one thing, one good and one bad.
the best, the beer. Belgian beer is the best in the
I
world. Beer
agree.
and fries. Um, Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have to say the people that I met there because I made amazing friends that are lasting until now, and I have really close relationship with. So also, I think that when you're abroad, the friendships that you make, maybe if they are really true, they last a lot because you're very bonded when you're outside from your family and your usual friends.
True.
But yeah, I think obviously the friends and the beer, and the worst. I would say probably the rain, even though I said it, rain and the security. Sometimes Brussels is a complicated city because of the criminality rate. You have to be careful in some neighborhoods. I was really lucky and I had the opportunity to live in amazing neighborhoods, but also I think that's a problem that we are facing in many big cities in Europe. So yeah, hopefully that will change in the short term.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good summary. So, if you knew someone that is still doubting if going abroad or not, how would you convince that person?
I mean, I would never convince anyone. I think that you really have to feel it inside you and you have to be motivated because if you are really happy where you live in and you go outside and you're miserable, I wouldn't want to be the responsible guy for it. But no, jokes aside, I think everyone should at least try because I think it's super important to move outside of your comfort zone. It's super important to get to open a little bit the mind, that there's more in the world apart from the place that you live in. And also when you visit a country, you don't really get to live in it. You don't really get to experience the culture, the people, and understand how they live there. So for sure, I mean, at least I don't know, do a fucking Erasmus or whatever. Like you need to go outside of your city and get to experience living outside. But yeah, I think it's obligatory. I wouldn't convince, but I would say it's obligatory. At least try 1 year, 2 years. It's gonna be super good as well for your career path because I mean, companies back in your country are gonna value a lot that you have an international background. So yeah, I think it's an obligation at least for 1 or 2 years to try. And if you don't like it, you can always come back. It's not gonna be the end of the world.
Exactly. That's the best one. You can always go back exactly at the point you were before. So there's zero risk,
Yeah,
literally, only gains.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree, and I think no one that has left for 1 year, 6 months, 2 year, or whatever, is only going to have bad experience. I think everyone learns from the place that they are in, and for sure, it's going to make you a better person, at least a different one. You're going to get to experience different things and learn from different people, and I think that's the most important thing that you can get from living outside.
Absolutely. All right. So now to finish, I have three quick questions, which also need three
Okay.
quick answers. The first one is your
Okay.
favorite local food from Belgium.
Um, I mean, Belgium is not the best for their dishes, but I would say maybe carbonade flamand. It's like a meat, like a stew.
Yeah, it's the same for me. It's also my favorite local food
Yeah,
from Belgium.
it's
Yeah.
it's nice. Yeah, or fries with mayo.
Ah, come on. Let's leave it in carbonate. All right. Then one book that you recommend, and it can be any topic. It doesn't need to be job related.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually say two. Job related, I would say Spin Selling. It's a book that teaches the spin method, and it's I'd say a classic. It's a book that was recommended actually by my CEO of my company, and it's a book that it's timeless. I think it's like 20 or 30 years old right now, but you learn a lot in terms of the mentality and some sales techniques. So for job related, I would say that for sure. Not job related, I would say, for example, I'm a guy that really, really enjoys history and I love history books. So I would say, for example, the trilogy of Ken Follett of The Fall of Giants, because it's basically a trilogy that teaches you about the last 100 years, the different wars, First World War, Second, and the Cold War, and it's a really really good book to understand our, let's say, recent history and why we are in the position that we are right now in terms of the the global order or the world or however you want to call it. So it's super interesting to understand, everything that has led to this moment.
Wow. Sounds really interesting. I might read it.
Yeah, I recommend it
Thank you. And
for sure.
last, the best advice that you have ever received.
Okay, so I have this one really, really clear. Actually, it's an advice from my dad that I try to apply to my daily mindset, like for sure every day. And it's basically I would try to make the translation correctly. Um, it's something like um, if you have a problem that doesn't have a solution, it's not a problem; it's a situation. So you just have to think about how you're gonna deal with it. And if it has a solution, then it's not a problem. You just have to solve it. So that really mainly tears the fact that problems don't exist. I know maybe it's a bit too much to explain it that way, but it's the mindset that I like to take when I have a situation. And also job related, I would say that the thing that I have most learned in my 4 years in sales now is that in any negotiation, you always have to ask for something back if you are conceding something. And I didn't know this at the beginning. And for example, when a client was asking me for an extra discount or whatever, I was just simply giving it and trying to let's say, make my relationship with him better so that he trusts me and everything. But always when you're giving something, you have to ask for something back. It basically makes you have that equilibrium in the sales process and in the relationship. So yeah, for sure, have that in mind when you have a closing or a relationship with a client or basically you can apply to many things in life.
Well, I really liked your dad's advice. I think I've never heard something like that. It helps you breaking free from stress, I guess, in everyday life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's a nice way to face a problem, because when you realize that either you can solve it or not, and you have to deal with it, it makes you change the mindset or it makes you change the way that you approach that problem or that situation.
I like it. Great. It was great to have you, Alejandro. You gave a lot of good tips. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Juanma. It was weird speaking in English with you, but yeah, I really enjoyed, and I hope that people will also enjoy and yeah, for sure, move abroad and yeah, if you need anything, you have both Juanma and me to ask questions. As I said, one of the best tips is to widen your network and to make sure that you are not scared of sending a message to anyone because probably people will be willing to help you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.